From Lag Boimer, as the Shabbos is dedicated to Miron Moshe.
Yeah.
What happened in Miron?
This Shabbos is Pashas Baruch Hu, and we are getting ready for Shavuos. This Shabbos is Shabbos Mevar from Kodesh Sivan. So, Behar B'chul come together this year, and there's many mitzvahs in both of them, but B'chul stands out that it speaks about brachos and the opposite of brachos, right? Blessings and opposite of blessings. It says that there's a story of Rabbi Bar Yochai, which the Gemara mentions, the Rabbi repeated a number of times, that he once sent his son to get a bracha from a great sage. And when his son went there, so the sage told him things that seemed to be curses, the opposite of blessings. So he went back to his father. His father asked him, what did he tell you? So he said, he told me things that made me very upset, very disturbed. So he asked him, what did he say? So he told him different things. So he explained to him everything that he said was really blessings. It was like riddles, but everything that he said was really blessings. So the question is, if you want to give blessings to someone, don't you want him to feel good about it? Why are you telling him things in a way that makes him feel negative? It's one of the different Behurim explanations. One of the points are that certain things, you have to be able to see the good that's hidden within negative things. We're trying to give him the ability. Rabbi Bar Yochai, he says he revealed the secrets of Torah. Revealing the secrets also means, we say, Gal Einay V'Apita Nefloisim Torah Sachra. Rabbi Bar Yochai gave the ability to see what's hidden in things. And Rabbi Bar Yochai was able to reveal those things that seemed that on the outside they were negative, but on the inside they were very good. So in general, this is the Jewish approach to the brachos and the klolos, is that at the end of the day, everything comes from the Eibishter. There's a famous story with the Mittler Rebbe, that he used to hear the Alter Rebbe learning the Torah, and the Alter Rebbe was not in Parshas B'chul, Parshas Kisava. You also have the brachos and the klolos. And when the Alter Rebbe wasn't there one year the Alter Rebbe wasn't there, and he heard someone else learning, and he became so seriously ill that a few weeks later, by Yom Kippur, there was a question if he was able to fast. Someone asked him, I don't understand why you got so emotionally disturbed. Don't you hear this every single year? So he said that when the Tata learned Herzog King Klaus, when he hears his father reading the Torah, he doesn't hear, it doesn't come across as negative things. So there's two ways of understanding the story. There's a more simple way and a deeper way. A simple way means that when the Alter Rebbe read the Torah, so the Mittler Rebbe was able to see within the way the Alter Rebbe was reading it, how the positive that was hidden, he saw the completely different interpretation. There's another interpretation, maybe more of a simpler, or whatever you want to call it. He says, when the Tata length, when my father reads, I hear it the way a father reads. I'm not hearing it the way angry, stranger is screaming at someone else, but I hear it the way my father reads. My father reads, Herzog King Klaus, right? So there's like the famous mashal that they give of a father. He tells his son, gets angry with his son, and he tells him, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do that. Then they say, okay, come, let's go out to lunch. In other words, when you're able to see the tata behind it all, Herzog King Klaus. So the bottom line is that everything Yiddishkeit believes is ultimately good, but the only thing is that we want that it should be Tuv Hanera Vanigla, it should be revealed good. That is what we daven for. That's the purpose of why we come down into this world, is to be able to reveal the good that's hidden in everything. So that's the message of Pashas B'chul in general, the message of Rabbi Bar Yochai also. So what does it have to do with anything? So first of all, regarding the thing that happened in Miron, I obviously don't know. I don't think there's anyone that could say anything why, what, where, when, and how. Sometimes silence is the only thing. But on the other hand, there's a few points. First of all, there's something that we have to do. You can't say, when something of this magnitude happens, if a person will say, it's another thing that was meant to happen, it should have happened, how many years ago. Okay, obviously, b'derech hatava, you have to do what's needed b'derech hatava, but at the same time, Yiddishkeit believes that not everything even when something happens that could relate to Teva, at the end of the day, the Savior is sending you a message. And people are taking from it is the importance of having Avos Yisrael. That's always an important thing, but particularly in this type of setting, the idea is to have love of a fellow Jew, and love of a fellow Jew means to have Avos Chinam. There's Sinas Chinam, there's baseless hatred, and there's Avos Chinam, there's baseless love. What's the difference between Sinas Chinam and Avos Chinam? Sinas Chinam means a person always naturally, there's, I don't know, something psychological to it as well. Sometimes the person thinks that he always thinks that the other person is a threat to him. Why? Part of our ego, right? Person didn't do anything to you. He looked at you the wrong way, but his presence is bothering you. How did the Chassid say? We walked into the Samach Tzedek in Yechidus. He said, "Rebbe mitrata for me. Wherever I go on the shoulder, stepping on me." So Samach Tzedek answered him, "Who asked you to spread yourself out over the whole shoulder? Wherever people go, people are stepping on you." But the point is, we feel that our ego is threatened, and therefore we assume that other person has evil intentions when he doesn't. So that's Sinas Chinam. What's Avos Chinam? Avos Chinam means that even if you know for a fact that the other person is this, he did that, and the third thing, the fourth thing, but Afal Pikain, for no reason whatsoever, you love him anyway. The story, I think Rabbi Weberman from Florida, they have it on the Living Torah, he says there was a certain Rav in Florida who was making different issues in a certain aspect of I forget what it was, something that was affecting the other Chabad community, I forget what it was. And there was another time, he was once in Yechidus with the Rebbe, and the Rebbe was asking about doing something in another field, whatever was another aspect of Yiddishkeit. And the Rabbi mentioned that maybe you should take this rabbi to put him on the board. And he was a little bit shocked that this guy, he was, opposing, whatever it was, their shul, I forget exactly the background of the story, that he should be put there. So the Rebbe said, listen, he's not going to do any harm in this particular thing. He's going to be on the board. He's not going to be the day sucker. And the Zirkind of Avos Chinam, you might not show him love. You're not hurting anybody by doing it. He's not causing any harm to the community or to the cause at hand. So put him there. So the idea of Avos, a person can say this person is such right. How do we or myself naturally think about such a person? This person is such a he has such a messed up agenda and this, fine. I won't bomb him. I won't smash his windows, but I should invite him, put him on the board. That, so that's Avos Chinam. Then if you need even a rationale, there's a story. We have Alan Dershowitz, I think it was, I think he once wrote a letter to the Rebbe. The Chabad was making a dinner somewheres, and their honoree of the dinner was a certain senator who wasn't known to necessarily be the biggest Oyev Yisrael, to be the biggest Jew lover. And Alan Dershowitz, he felt he had to say something, so he sent a letter to the Rebbe about it. How could it be? The Chabad. But basically, the point the Rebbe answered him is, when you have somebody that's outspoken against Israel, or whatever exactly it was, you're not going to affect him, you're not going to change his mind by just being opposed to him. The Rebbe said, by bringing him, giving him opportunity to speak, whatever it is, so that itself, he sees Jews, he does, it will change his approach. Later he became more mellow towards whatever cause it was that was bothering Alan Dershowitz. But the point is that the result of fights is that we create walls, we create barriers, mentally, emotionally, whatever it is, and it's very hard to, once barriers are set in stone, it's very hard to ever think of changing them. But sometimes things happen in the world that cause us to realize that loizu haderech, even if for years and whatever it was, there have been walls or barriers that have been built and solidified and cemented and separation, whether it's between me and whoever it is, a family member, whoever it might be, a person that I worked with at one point, whatever it is. Nevertheless,
build bridges, not walls.
Build bridges, not walls, and there's the idea of Avos Chinam. Even if you're 100% right, 100%, very hard to be 100. Even if you're 100% right, But Alpha became talk a little bit l'mayla min tam v'das. It's the secular way of thinking, or the human way of thinking. It's very hard to accept that it's not just that the person doesn't deserve it, and Alpha became I should invite him in. But yeah, this is what Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, that in order to bring the Gula, in order to bring godliness into the world, in order to solve the problems that exist in humanity and the world at large, it's through chavivusa, it's through, obviously you have to have boundaries. Each community has to follow their minhagim, their way of life. It doesn't mean building bridges doesn't mean that everyone is doing exactly the same thing, but it has to be the din of Avos Yisrael. That's first of all. Then we're also going to Chodesh Sivan. Chodesh Sivan is Kabbalah Satayra. We all know that the preparation for receiving the Torah is also Avos Yisrael.
But that itself was not Avos Yisrael negative, how they were fighting the mountain.
Very good part. Interesting. Fine. So
Joke.
The joke. Every joke has some kernel of truth, I guess, to it to some degree. So the Nekuda is, when we come to Chodesh Sivan, so we're receiving the Torah, there's that Acheres Kadmon L'Torah, we read Pirkei Avos for a reason. But the month of Sivan, it says that what's the meaning of Torah? Torah is Nasi Shalom. What's the idea? Why was the Torah given in the third month? Maybe it should have been given in the first month, the second, 3, I don't know, pick your choice. The idea of 3 is the idea of peace. So it says the Torah made peace. What did Torah make peace between? Torah made peace between everyone. Peace in the Middle East, peace between the Eibishter and the Yidden, peace between the Yidden themselves. So the idea of Torah is to make peace. Why does Torah make peace? So the word is like this: a person, in general, the Rabbi explained that a person's living his life. A person naturally goes through different things the whole time. Someone was reading an article in the Shem was contrasting two Jews sitting on a train. One Jew was reading the daily news. The other Jew was reading Chitas Reveres. He's describing, he's a good writer. He knows how to make a good article about anything. So he was describing the guy reading the Jewish Post. He was saying that he sees his eyebrows are going up and down. He's getting excited and angry and happy and concerned as he turns every page. He's the guy that's reading the Chitas. He's calm, cool, collected, So the point is trying to bring out, the point that he was trying to bring out is that Torah keeps you sane, Torah keeps you stable in life. When you go through life, there's always there's always the natural waves that go up and down, and then there's hurricanes, there's tornadoes, there's tsunamis, there's things that happen that could completely jolt a person from his stationary state and cause him to completely, end up somewhere else. And Torah gives a person, Torah is the idea of peace, Torah is also the idea of menucha, of stability. When a person has Torah, it doesn't mean he won't have problems, but if a person is connected to Torah, he learns, he internalizes, most importantly, he's connected through Torah to the message of the Eibishter, to the message of godliness. So then, whatever he's going through, he has something to fall back on. If he has a certain connection, he has something which transcends all the different turmoils that he's going through, and it gives him a certain sense of security, of peace. There's a mashal that the Mittel Rebbe brings from about davening, brings from Rabbi Nachman Kasef, I forget exactly who he brings it from. He brings a mashal of a prince that was thrown into prison, and he's living in a dark cell, completely distant from any lifestyle that he had before. And but one thing he had a fiddle with him. Violin, whatever, musical instrument. And once a day he would go and play this instrument, he would play the music that he used to play in the king's palace, and that gave him a taste of, reliving the past. It gave him the ability to transcend whatever situation he was in. And the nimshal was that's the idea of really what davening is all about. That in davening a person is supposed to it gives the person the ability, the neshama comes on in the guf. And there's everything that's going on is not necessarily the rosiest, is not always things to write home about. When a person learns or davens and connects himself with Eibishter, he's able to connect himself to a peaceful world. That gives him the ability to transcend what's going on. So Torah brings peace. Torah also brings peace between people. Every person has his own agenda. That's the way we're created as human beings. But if you're united with a cause that transcends our differences of opinions and is able to unite them, so then we're able to have peace. So again, the idea of Torah is also the idea of Shalom. It says, what is Eliyahu going to come before Mashiach comes? The Rambam passes, he's coming last Shalom to make peace in the world. Because that's the ultimate preparation for the Gula as well.
Is it peace with ourselves or peace with our
So there's peace within yourself. And Abman the Futafas once said, he said, I would rephrase what he's saying. He said, if you want to go to a zoo, you don't have to go too far. He says, you could open, look at a mirror, and you'll see a zoo. Because in your heart, you have a tiger, you have a sheep, a monkey, a donkey. Right? Of Kol Chayis Rois, every person, one day he feels like a lion, the other day he feels... So the point is, he was trying to say, somebody says they go to a zoo, it's a family reunion. In other words, it's true. It's true, but the Nekuda is that every person, we all have the behemoth, the Chayir Rosh, we all have wild animals in our heart. But the point is that we have the ability to we also have the Nefesh Elokis. So a person, he has all these inclinations and these, things that pull him in different directions, but he has the ability to overcome it. But that's the Nekuda. This is what Torah gives the person the ability to do. So this is the Nekuda of Torah, of life in general. And it says that that the Eibusha told the Yidden, if they're not going to accept the Torah, is going to return the world to Toyu V'Avoyu. Right? The existence of the world, Jewish people always believed and lived, was Torah. I remember there was once a guy, in Toronto, and there was a guy, a Sfardi, Bukhari, whatever. It wasn't frum, but he had his Amunah Pshutas. He was discussing then Ma'aser Eretz Yisrael against the Haredim, against the people sit and learn. So he tells me in his way, he says, believe me, he said, if all the yeshivas in Israel were closed, the Medinat Yisrael would not exist for 5 minutes. Although he understood, that at the end of the day is that we need to have the Torah to keep the Jewish people as a people. If you just have everything is purely,
lawyers and doctors at Duck College.
Yeah, so he says the state of Israel wouldn't exist even for 5 minutes. So the bottom line is, Torah gives a person peace and security and stability in life. Obviously has to, like we say, Torah has to be engraved in a person, right? That's hakika. It has to be engraved. Torah gives the ability for a Jew to be able to see and take tragedies and turn them into momentum to do good. The main thing is that we should have the revelation of the Torah Chadasha, the ultimate Torah that will answer all our questions and illuminate our eyes to see our true purpose in life in a very clear way. It should happen. Take it from me, Atmamash.
And then we won't need to prepare for Shabbos because you'll already have the Torah Chadasha.
So